Good day, ma'am. My name is Fred Vincent Simakon from Badiang Bohol. And to this video, I'm going to summarize to you the 7 principle of HACCP. Principle number 1 is conduct a hazard analysis. So, the application of these principles involve listening the step in the process of identified where significant hazard are likely to occur. The HACCP team will focus on hazard that can be prevented, eliminated, or controlled by the HACCP plan. Principle number 2 is identify the critical control points. So, a critical control point is CCP. Is a point, step, or procedure at which control can be applied and a food safety hazard can be prevented and eliminated or reduced acceptable level. The HACCP team will be use a CCP decision tree to help identify the critical control point in the process. Principle number 3 is establish critical limits. Our critical limits is the maximum and or minimum value to which a biological, chemical, or physical parameter must be controlled at a CCP to prevent, eliminate, or reduce to an acceptable level the occurrence of a food safety hazard. Principle number four is monitor the CCP. The HACCP team will be described and monitoring the procedure for the measurement of the critical limits and each critical control point. Monitoring the procedure should be described how the measurement will be taken and when the measurement is taken, who is responsible for the measurement and how frequently the measurement is taken during the production. Principle number 5 is establishment corrective action. So, corrective action are the procedure of the followed when the deviation in a critical limit occur. The HACCP team will be identify the step that will be taken to prevent potential hazardous food from entering the food chain and steps that are needed to correct the process. This usually include the identification of the problem and step of taken to ensure that the problem will not be occur again. Principle number 6 is verification. Those activities other than the monitoring determine the validity of the HACCP plan and the system is operating according to the plan. The HACCP team may be identify the activities such as auditing of CCPS, recording review, prior shipping review, instrument calibration, and product testing as a part of the verification of activities. And lastly is the principle 7, recording keeping. A key of component of the HACCP plan is recording information that can be used to prove that the food was produced safely. The record also need include information about the HACCP plans. Record should be include information of the CACCP team, product of this description, flow diagram, the hazard analysis, the HACCP identified critical limits, monitoring system, corrective action, recording keeping procedure, and the verification of procedure. Question number 1. Define the food hazard mentioned above and give the example of each. A food hazard as anything that could containment of food that cause illness or injury or could otherwise a violent establishment food safety program criteria if left uncontrolled. Example of food hazard is bacteria, molds, virus, and parasites. Task 2. Choose one fast food product except chicken as an example of hazard analysis. Identify the possible hazard that may be present in from the time it is prepared to the time it is cooked. The example of the fast food product is burger. The situation is the beef of the burger is have bacteria. Task 3. Identify the critical control point from the item you have made as an example of the eliminate the hazard. I'm going to cook and reheating the food so that the bacteria will not grow. Last one is the task 4. Identify the critical limits for your critical control point. The ground beef should be cooked to an internal temperature of at least 160 Fahrenheit to kill the bacteria.